Hey, when dealing with equipment, you don't want to operate them when you're fatigued or distracted. You're really tired. You've been up all night with your baby. Baby's been sick. Lots of things going on in life, stresses, strains. You really don't want to be operating the machines. You want to have full attention. You want to be able to concentrate on everything that's going around you. With a lot of this equipment, your hands are close to the action. You don't need to be distracted. You also have to pay attention to both your hands at the same time. A lot of people get injured because they only pay attention to one hand and it's the other hand that gets it. If it's near the end of the day, and I've heard this many times, somebody gets hurt on a table saw or a joiner, and I've heard it, like I say, plenty of times, people commenting and saying it was the last cut of the day. So what happens is in their mind, they're already on their way out the door, ready for that long weekend, ready for going home at the end of the day. They lose that attention for a split second, and that's all it takes, and it proves to be disastrous. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to operate any of these machines while under the influence of drugs or alcohol. It's hard enough keeping yourself safe when you're sober and fully alert. Don't do this to yourself. Better to stay away and wait till you're in a better frame of mind. When you're using a push stick, make sure that you go down the center or cheat slightly towards the blade. When you push it through, this will help keep it up against the fence. Once you've cleared the workpiece and it's past the blade, what you want to do is you want to shut the saw off. Once the saw stops spinning, then you can remove the waste piece. Don't let them pile up over to the side of the saw. And don't put anything else over there. Because what's happening is if the blade's running and somebody happens to walk by, which they really shouldn't do, but if anything get bumped, it hits the blade, it's going to go back and get the operator. Never put anything on this side because it could become a hazard. A couple things that you shouldn't do while you're using a table saw. You should never crisscross your hands. That type of thing. Because if you ever get bumped or you trip and fall, you're going to fall into the blade. Always separate your hands. Keep them. This is on all woodworking equipment. Never ever cut your hands crossed up because you can end up in trouble. Also, never try to freehand something through a table saw. So you want to make sure you're up against the guide, whether it's the miter gauge or the fence, or it's some type of jig that you've made up, okay? What you don't want to do is you don't want to try to freehand it through this or try to cut anything like that, because the moment that you come out of the saw cut and you turn a little bit sideways in it, it will bind and it will kick back on you. Don't put yourself in that position.